The story of Rome, perhaps the most influential civilization in world history, begins not with marble palaces and mighty legions, but with a legend. For according to Roman mythology, the city was founded in 753 BCE by Romulus, the son of Mars, who after slaying his twin brother Remus established a settlement on the banks of the Tiber River. This small cluster of huts on the Palatine Hill grew into the heart of what would become one of the greatest empires ever known. Yet Rome's earliest days were humble, ruled at first by kings in what we now call the Roman Kingdom, a period when the Etruscans to the north heavily influenced Roman religion, architecture, and political structures. Under kings such as Tarquinius Priscus and Marius Tullius, the city expanded, temples were built, drainage projects like the Cloaca Maxima transformed marshland into usable land, and early institutions took shape. But tyranny under the final king, Tarquinius Superbus, provoked a revolt, leading to the expulsion of kings around 509 BCE, marking the birth of the Roman Republic, a system in which power was shared among elected magistrates, the Senate, and assemblies of citizens. Though in practice the patrician elite dominated, still the Republic was revolutionary, balancing power between consuls, praetors, and tribunes. And though conflicts like the struggle of the orders eventually gave plebeians more rights, Rome remained a society of sharp inequality. Yet its strength lay in adaptability, discipline, and relentless ambition, traits that soon propelled it beyond the Tiber Valley. In the early centuries of the Republic, Rome fought neighboring tribes like the Latins, Sabines, and Etruscans, steadily expanding its control over central Italy. By the 4th century BCE, Rome clashed with the Gauls, who in 390 BCE sacked the city, burning much of it to the ground. Yet rather than collapse, Rome rebuilt stronger, fortifying itself and reorganizing its military. The legions became Rome's instrument of dominance, citizen soldiers trained with iron discipline, organized into maniples that could adapt to any terrain. This system allowed Rome to conquer the Italian peninsula by 270 BCE, after defeating the Greek city of Tarentum and its ally Pyrrhus of Epirus. But success in Italy brought Rome into conflict with another great power, Carthage, the wealthy maritime empire of North Africa. Their rivalry sparked the Punic Wars, a series of 3 epic struggles that defined the Republic's destiny. The first Punic War, to 6-2-1 BCE, was fought over Sicily, and though Rome lacked naval tradition, it innovated with the corvus boarding device, transforming sea battles into infantry combat. And after decades of war, Rome emerged victorious, gaining its first overseas province. Yet it was the Second Punic War, 218-201 BCE, that nearly destroyed Rome, for Carthage's greatest general, Hannibal Barca, crossed the Alps with war elephants, defeating Roman armies at Trebia, Lake Trasimene, and Cannae, where tens of thousands of Romans were slain in one of history's greatest tactical masterpieces. Rome seemed on the brink of annihilation, yet it endured, raising new legions, adapting strategies, and under generals like Fabius Maximus and later Scipio Africanus, who in 200 BCE defeated Hannibal at Zama, Rome turned the tide, securing dominance in the western Mediterranean. The Third Punic War decades later ended with the total destruction of Carthage in 146 BCE, its lands annexed and its people enslaved, symbolizing Rome's merciless resolve. Meanwhile, Rome expanded into Greece and the eastern Mediterranean, absorbing Hellenistic kingdoms and bringing Greek art, literature, and philosophy into Roman life. But success came at a price. Wealth and slaves poured into Rome, deepening inequality, corrupting politics, and fueling unrest. The Gracchus brothers Tiberius and Gaius attempted reforms to aid the poor, but were killed in political violence, marking a new era of bloodshed. Ambitious generals like Marius and Sulla used personal armies to seize power, undermining the Republic's institutions, and civil wars became the norm. Into this chaos rose Julius Caesar, a brilliant general who conquered Gaul, wrote accounts of his campaigns, and became immensely popular. When the Senate ordered him to disband his army, he famously crossed the Rubicon River in 49 BCE, sparking civil war. After defeating Pompey, Caesar became dictator for life, enacting reforms but alarming the Senate, and in 44 BCE he was assassinated by conspirators like Brutus and Cassius, who hoped to restore the Republic. Yet instead they plunged Rome into further chaos. Caesar's heir Octavian, allied with Mark Antony and Lepidus in the Second Triumvirate, hunted down the assassins, but rivalry soon tore them apart, culminating in the clash between Octavian and Antony, whose alliance with Cleopatra of Egypt ended in defeat at Actium in 31 BCE. Octavian emerged sole ruler, taking the title Augustus in 27 BCE, and thus began the Roman Empire. Augustus cleverly maintained the facade of republican institutions while wielding ultimate authority, ushering in the Pax Romana to centuries of relative peace, prosperity, and expansion. Under emperors like Tiberius, Claudius, and Trajan, the empire stretched from Britain to Mesopotamia, its roads, aqueducts, and cities uniting diverse peoples. Roman law and citizenship spread, while monumental architecture like the Colosseum and Pantheon showcased imperial grandeur. Yet beneath the splendor lurked tensions, succession crises, corruption, and rebellion. Emperors like Nero became infamous for cruelty and extravagance, while others like Marcus Aurelius embodied Stoic wisdom. Religion evolved too, with Christianity emerging in the 1st century CE, spreading despite persecution until Constantine legalized it in the 4th century, setting the stage for a transformation of the empire's spiritual life. By this time, however, cracks had widened. Economic troubles, military overextension, and waves of invasions strained Rome. In 285 CE, Diocletian divided the empire into east and west for easier governance, and though the Eastern Empire, later known as Byzantium, would endure for 1,000 more years, the Western Roman Empire declined in 410 CE. Rome itself was sacked by the Visigoths, shocking the world, and in 476 CE the last Western emperor, Romulus Augustulus, was deposed, marking the conventional end of Rome in the West. Yet Rome did not truly vanish. Its language, law, engineering, and institutions shaped medieval Europe. The Catholic Church carried its legacy, and Renaissance thinkers revived its ideals. Even today, our roads, calendars, architecture, and political concepts bear Rome's imprint. The story of Rome is one of rise and fall, of resilience and ambition, of brutality and brilliance. From the myth of Romulus to the grandeur of Augustus, from the chaos of civil wars to the majesty of empire, it is a story that captures the essence of human history, reminding us that even the greatest powers are mortal, yet their influence can echo across millennia. And so when we speak of civilization itself, we cannot help but speak of Rome, the city that rose from humble huts to rule the known world, only to fall, leaving behind not just ruins, but a legacy that defines what it means to be part of history.